This is the Compressor Bass from Empress effects, and it's a super rad 100% analog compressor with just a very transparent and dynamic sound to it that is just loaded with so many great features on top of it that makes for such an excellent package. So just to put it honestly, I don't really know a whole lot about compressors. I didn't even really start playing around with them until a few years ago, but since then I've learned quite a bit about them, and they're just so much fun and extremely useful, especially for studio situations. Just being able to make sure and control that the lowest note you play and the highest note you play are at the same level and not out of whack with each other is such an extremely useful thing to know as a bass player. So compressors come in and just make it a really essential thing to make sure that your tone is really all in line with each other. But before we really dig into the compressor bass, and for the sake of transparency, this video is sponsored by Empress Effects. But of course, as always, that has absolutely no ruling on what I say, the sounds in this video, the opinions that I have, or anything like that. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So looking right at the compressor bass, you'll notice this beautiful blue sparkle finish. And I've kind of thought about this, why don't more pedal makers make more sparkle finishes? I think it's just such a cool looking finish. And you see a lot of like guitars and basses with some sparkle finishes, but never pedals, and I think there should be more of that. So starting with the controls, you have 6 knobs, 2 3-way switches, and of course your on-off bypass foot switch. Starting from the top and going down, your first 2 knobs are input and output. Input lets you control the level that's going into the compressor. So basically whenever you turn it up more, you're adding more compression overall. And then with output, this lets you control the volume coming out of the compressor. And then going to attack and release, attack lets you control how quickly that compressor is going to take into effect, while release lets it go slowly or quickly. Then below that, you have your mix knob, which lets you blend in how much of that compression you actually want in your signal. You can go all the way to the left for 100% dry, all the way to the right for 100% wet, and of course anything in between that. Whether you think maybe I'm kind of losing a bit of my dynamics, maybe I should back off on the compression a bit, you can choose exactly where you want it in that. And of course, as a bassist, I love anything that has a blend knob with it. And then next to that is your SCHP, or your Sidechain high pass filter. So this pedal has something very unique to it. It has sidechain compression available. By using the sidechain jack that's at the top between the input and output jacks, you can use sidechain compression. Now this is something that's really cool, but a little above my knowledge. Again, I'm just a bassist. But if you watch Ben Jordan's video really explaining it, it is extremely useful and just really captivating how you're able to use sidechain compression along with your regular compression, and it's just so cool. And then finally you have your 2 3-way toggle switches. Starting with ratio, you have the options of 2:1, 4:1, and 10:1, and basically between these it lets you choose whether you want a more loose transparent compression or you just want to squeeze it to hell and back again pretty much. And then to the right of that is my personal favorite feature of this pedal, and that is the tone plus color 3-way switch. So basically in the middle it's off, everything's normal. But when you go to the left, there's actually a cut to the 500 hertz side of your lower mids. Then to the right, there's a boost to the 2000 hertz. So really, you're able to get these really cool tonal options from a compressor, which is really different. It's able to color your sound in a different way. And what's really cool too is it adds a very slight harmonic distortion to it. I know I'm saying distortion, but just it's more of a very subtle thing where if you have headphones on, you can really hear it pop into effect. But man, it's just so cool to have these 2 EQ options on a compressor too. And then on the right side of the pedal, you'll notice these little LEDs on the side, probably wondering what those are. But it's actual metering for your gain reduction and input. So you can just see exactly how much is being input and how much it's really reducing that gain by. Sometimes it's a little, and sometimes it'll be like, wow, that's a whole lot, and it's just a nice little feature on top of everything else on this pedal. So overall with the compressor bass, I think Empress really knocked it out of the park with this, and this is just such a useful and extremely dynamic compression pedal for bass that works so well on so many different wavelengths. Of course, being able to choose how much compression you want to add to it, then of course the attack and release on top of that, but then you have the ratio options as well as those tone options too, which again, EQ options on a compressor, who would have ever thought that really works, but it works fantastic, especially for bass. But of course, let me know what you guys think about the compressor bass, and really what other cool weird pedals should I start checking out, especially that are feature loaded like this. As always, thank y'all so much for watching, for liking, subscribing, commenting, following me on social media, all that stupid crazy stuff. I truly do appreciate y'all. And of course, a humongous thank you to my Patreon supporters right here. Mwah, mwah. If you want to join the club and be like one of these cool and generous peeps, go ahead and head on over to my Patreon page. But y'all, as always, thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Hope y'all are doing great, and as always, stay safe, practice that bass, have fun with some weird pedals, and I'll see y'all next time.